All right, I want to welcome everyone. This is Monday, June 21st, 2021. It's 5:01 in the late afternoon, early evening. It's the city of Cottonwood Heights. This is a special business meeting. My name is Mayor Mike Peterson, and this is again a special business meeting. I'd like to begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will lead us in that pledge. All right, the purpose of tonight's meeting is to take action on an item that is very important to us as a city, because our responsibility is the health and safety of our citizens and constituents. And with the extreme drought conditions, we have received a letter from our United Fire Authority fire marshal, and in that letter, it states that he is determined as the fire code official that hazardous environmental conditions exist that necessitate the controlled use of ignition sources from 1300 eastward at a minimum. And he recommends that us as a city and entity evaluate the restrictions of ignition sources, including fireworks at this time, with a demarcation line of 1300 east as per the Utah code. So before we take action, I'm wondering if there's any comments from any of our council members. And before I recognize anyone, I do need to excuse Councilor Michael, who is traveling out of state and is not able to join us this evening. Any comments from the council members?
Mayor, I've had a number of inquiries about this, about the hazardous situations we're under, and many of them have stated this very fact, that they're very concerned about what could happen if fireworks were allowed. So I've got a number of those, and I don't know if other people have also received those communications.
Thank you, Councilor Peterson. I've received dozens, both text, emails, and voicemails, 100% supporting or requesting that we ban and restrict about 13 teeth or more. Any other comments? Assistant Chief, Mr. Pilgrim, any comments, thoughts?
I know this has been a pretty big topic just across the counties. The mayor did her press conference today. I know the Valley Fire Chiefs are putting something together that would be more of a social media based message, but across the county, all of our organizations, as far as fire go, are on board with this. We definitely don't want to prevent people from having fun and enjoying the 4th of July, but this really does come down to just a matter of public safety. With the drought conditions we're experiencing, the previous demands we've had on the 4th of July and all the nights leading up to it, it's caused significant strain on resources. And, you know, the big thing here is we want to prevent the small fires, because when we're all tied up on those and something bigger happens, it's a lot more difficult to get resources there. So it's really a strategic move to make sure that the communities are as safe as they possibly can be during this time of year. So yeah, we're in full support of this and appreciate the councils for considering these actions.
Just a quick question. I understand Salt Lake City is everything east of 9th East. Mill Creek is considering action later this week. Holiday has already passed restrictions. Everything east of, is it 13th?
I believe so, 13th.
And Sandy City is also everything east of
13th.
13th.
And Draper as well. So every
Draper
community
as well.
on the East Bench has gone at least to 13th. And there's actually discussion right now for South Salt Lake and Salt Lake City to completely restrict all fireworks. And so that just shows, even though those are almost more of an urban center, The problem doesn't have to exist because you have open fields or open land outside your city. It could be internally, and we still have challenges with this. So
Great, thank you.
Well, I guess that's certainly understandable if you're, when you're talking about having to deal with, if you're dealing with a lot of smaller issues here and there, then you don't have the resources. If something, whatever happens somewhere else, that seems to be, I mean, that's certainly a concern. If all of the crews are out taking care of minor incidences or smaller things here and there. I remember there's a lightning strike or something else.
Well,
that needs resources.
yeah, and it's really amazing the amount of even small things like dumpster fires and small like vegetation fires in somebody's yard, right? Those are tying up precious resources in the event that something like happened here a few years ago. You have a large field that starts on fire, and we're diverting resources from a much farther location possibly to respond on those. So it really is a challenge in our crews to start getting called out on all these tiny little things and injuries and just all the stuff that happens. Yeah, it definitely does potentially remove us from being able to respond to those more critical incidents.
I know, and that's our concern, of course, as elected officials, is your ability to respond. And as people remember, and Robbie remember well, I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we had a major fire from Memorial Estates that went over to a home, and that still impacts our city's thinking because we don't want to see that again. Robbie, would you take a minute, maybe just share thoughts about enforcement? Because this ordinance, if passed, would be in place through December of this year. So that's the 2 holidays in July primarily is the concern. And then, of course, you have one in December.
I would have just addressed you from my position there, but Chief Pilgrim has actually raised the bar, so I step up here. No, we've
Pretty
anticipated.
high bar, yeah.
It is, that's a high bar. We've anticipated the passage of this, whether it be, we call it an ordinance
Yeah.
or a prohibition. With any event,
Ordinance.
we have taken that into consideration, and that's a busy time for us anyway, because we get the alcohol related calls and the accidents and the fights, and we have the neighborhood parties that we are attending. All that considered, we are doubling our staff, and we will be prepared to adequately handle the enforcement end of this rule, and the officers have been given proper instruction on how we'd like to see that occur. But we anticipate a huge volume of calls, so we will triage and assess and evaluate each of them as they come in and respond to them in hopefully a proper order to keep everybody safe. So.
Thank you, Chief. And maybe if Mr. Ting, you take a moment too, because I think to facilitate both fire and police is the importance of getting social media and other media reports out there so the public is well informed. I know, Chief Pilgrim, you mentioned that UFA is doing that, but I assume we are as staff as well.
Yes, in fact, we're coordinating with UFA. Our communication specialist has been in contact with theirs. And as soon as a decision is made tonight, we will really focus on that effort to get this out and make sure people are aware of the restrictions in place.
I noticed visiting one of our local supermarkets today that the tent is up to sell fireworks. So would be some effort to communicate, or is there some type of, no, we used to put the map up at the selling point. Is there some other communication that will go to those who are selling fireworks?
Yeah, we're going to work on that. So we have our GIS department for Salt Lake County Emergency Management who works within UFA. They're producing the maps right now. So they already have some maps built with all these restrictions that are proposed. And basically once it's decided upon, we're going to start pushing those out. The challenge is we'll be able to push ours out for Cottonwood Heights and some of these other cities, but then, Salt Lake City, they're going to be a little bit behind the curve. They keep making changes. And so it'll be up to them to really communicate that. But by and large, as an organization, we'll push these out as fast and as quickly as we can. Part of that will be interfacing with those retailers. We'll have our prevention division tackle that piece, and then we'll do what we need to as an organization. And like I shared, the social media stuff with the fire chiefs, kind of a collective effort throughout the county. They'll be pushing their message out as well. And we'll do our best to make sure we can educate and make sure people are aware of this. So,
Well, we're educating not just for the 4th coming up, but also for the 24th, which is at that. So it'll be a major effort. Okay, thank you, Chief.
thank you.
And Chief,
I believe Mayor Wilson had a press conference earlier. I did not watch it, but I got the impression that she was promoting that their version of the website would be being updated day to day as these. That may be the best place for people to see what's current.
okay. With that being said, I would entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 360, adopting additional restrictions on the use of fireworks. This, of course, includes restrictions in all areas from 1300 east and eastward in the city through December 30th, 2021.
I would make that motion, Mayor.
Okay, it's been motioned by Councilmember Bruce. Do I have a second?
I will go ahead and second it. Like the question I had was that's all types of fireworks, ground-based or aerial. Is that correct?
My understanding, Chief Pilgrim, and you can correct me, or Tim, it's use of all fireworks.
Yeah, this would be all fireworks, correct?
That's correct.
And you're calling them ignition sources, so that extends beyond just fireworks. Could be anything that could potentially light a fire.
Yeah, and we were having that discussion in some other email threads about, there's some concerns with residential campfire rings and bonfires. And so, yeah, I mean, depending on how this is written, maybe this would require Shane's feedback, but you could include everything. Again, enforcement is really going to be the challenge, but it is possible to include all ignition sources. So.
All right, it's been moved by Councilmember Bruce, seconded by Councilmember Bracken. Any final comments or questions from the council? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Bruce, Councilmember Bruce,
Stuff off. I see you. She's, it looks like she's trying to say something. There's a thumbs up. There we go.
okay, let the record show that I see her and she's given us a thumbs up, so I say that's a yes. I will vote yes, and Councilor Michael is excused. That is our only action item tonight, and therefore I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I've moved to adjourn our business meeting.
The move by Councilmember Bracken, we adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Move a second. All in favor, say aye or thumbs up.
Aye.
More importantly, anyone opposed? Let the record show that it was unanimous. We are now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the